Today's shir is being sponsored Lila Nishmas Rab Tzvi Hirsch Ben Rab Shnei Zalman. In the schus of sponsoring this shir and all the shiurim, the Neshama Sharav and Aliyah, be a good better for the whole family. Gashmias, Baruchmias, Barchova. Okay, let's begin today and the Gemara on Daf Chav Ches Omid Aleph, the Mishnah. Hamevi get. Okay, about 10 lines down from the bottom top of the Yomad. Hamei Zokteilige Mishnah, Hamevi get. A person is delivering a get. But Vinichoi Zokin Eichele. He took the get from the husband and he left him when he was elderly or he was ill. So he's going to deliver the get to the wife and it's going to be a while later. But he's not sure if the person that he took the get from is still alive or not. He gives the get to the wife, assuming that he's still alive, and then she'll be divorced by this, and she won't be an almana. There's a very big difference if she's going to be divorced or an almana. So Rashi over here says that this Mishnah, and the whole sugya we're going to learn here, is based on the concept that you learn out from a pasuk. This is Minat Torah. It's called Hamed Dova Al Cheskasei. There's a chazakah. If there's a certain status that we know of that is now in the present, so then if later on we're not sure if anything changed, Torah says that we don't have to assume that anything changed. We can accept the status as it is now, the chazakah of now. That's what we say over here as well regarding this person that the get was taken from him. Similar halacha, Bas Yisrael and Asul Kayin. A Bas Yisrael which is married to a Kayin, as long as she's married to a Kayin, she's able to eat truma from her husband, a Kayin. Her husband went overseas and she's not sure what happened to him. Is he alive? Is he not? She could continue eating truma with the assumption that he's alive. Again, the same chazaka of the status that she knows now. Third halacha, which is based on the same concept, a person sent a korban chatas from overseas with a shliach to be brought in the Beis Hamikdash for his sake in Eretz Yisrael. So the korban could be brought with the assumption that the person that sent it is still alive. Now, if this person that sent it passed away, so then this korban chatos, halacha v'chatos shemesu baleho, that the husband, or the owner of the chatos passes away, the korban can't be brought at all in the Beis Hamikdash. It has to be left to die. But we could assume that he's still alive. Sagt the Gemara, Omar Rav, or others are great here, Omar Rabbe, Lo Shanu, when it says in the Mishnah that the husband was old or he was sick, so this is only said, if this person was not, he didn't reach to the age of Gvurais, which is 80 years old, as the Mishnah says, as the Lashon of the Pasuk rather is, in Begvurais Shmainim Shana, or V'chayle, and when it says, and also a person that's sick. So regarding the age of a person, it's only up until the age of 80, and the chayla as well. We say a person that's sick, that sharoiv chaylam l'chayim. Most people that are sick, we can rely on the fact that they will recover and be healed and live. But a person that's already past the age of 80, or v'gaisis, not a person that's damn sick, but a person that's a gaisis, he's mamish on his deathbed, he has minutes to live. Most people that are in such a situation, there's a raiv that they will pass away. So then, we can't rely on the chazakah that we have, that you follow the status that there is now, that he's alive, because there's by these people, there's a raiv by the gaisis that we say that he's going to pass away. And by this person that's above the age of 80, also, Gemara doesn't mamish use the lashon of raiv regarding gvurais, but over here there's no chazakah that this person is still alive. Eisvei, Abaya asks on this, but it says in the Braisa as follows: Hamevi get, person's delivering a get, ve'nichoi zokin, and he left the husband that he took the get from when he was old. Afile ben me'yashana, even if he was 100 years old, doesn't matter. Noisin b'cheskel shukain, he gives the get to the wife, and he can assume that he's still alive. So it clearly says that we don't say that after the age of 80 that we can't assume that anymore. Says the Gemara Tiyufta. So this refutes what Rava or Rabba said. Yibai Seimis, says the Gemara, or if you want, I can answer you that it's not a question on Rava. Why not? Because Kivin, the iflig. Once a person gets to that age, when Rashi says that he's already past 90, so then I say that once he went so far, when he was zeicha to live so long. So over here already, there's no concern to say that he may pass away. But it's between the age of 80 and 90. There we say that there's no chazaka that the person is alive when you took the get from him. But once he's already older, at that point, so there's a chazaka already that this person will live. Abaye asked Rabba a question about this Tanan. So this is sort of a new subject over here. Not till the Gemara is talking about the particular age when we say this and when not. But here Abaye asks another contradiction of what it says in our Mishnah. So he asked Rabba Tanan in our Mishnah. It says Hamei viget v'hinichai zaken. You left a husband when he was elderly, or he was sick. So we have a chazakah that he's alive, and you can give the get to the wife. But I'll ask you a contradiction of this. It says in a braise, a person says to his wife, here, this is your get. But the get should only take effect 1 moment before I pass away. Now, he doesn't want her to be divorced now. But if he's going to pass away, he wants her to be divorced a moment before he passes away. And this would be beneficial in a case where he doesn't want her to be stuck with a yavam if he had no children. So then, asura lechel betruma miyad. If the husband was a kayin and she's eating the truma from the kayin, she may not eat truma immediately. Because at any moment, it could be that 1 moment before the husband passes away. So therefore, she can't eat truma right away. So what do you see from here? That I am concerned at every moment that the husband could pass away. In our Mishnah it says you take a get from a husband and you're delivering to the wife, so there's a chazakah that he's alive. And here it says no, that as soon as you make such a condition that the get should be a get when he passes away, so it's also right away to eat truma. Amalei, so Rabbi answered, truma, a gittin karamis. You're asking me a question from the halach of our Mishnah regarding the get. To this case regarding truma, when a person made the condition that the get should take effect a moment before he passes away. Trume efsher. Regarding trume, the reason why we're machmer and we say that we should be concerned that the husband may pass away and therefore it's a moment before he passes away, is because over there it's possible to do something else. It's possible for her to eat things other than trume. So therefore we're machmer that she should not be allowed to eat the trume. But get lo yafsher. By get, you can't be concerned about the fact that the husband will pass away, because if so, any person that's far from his wife and wants to send a shliach to his wife to give her a get, you're going to say he can't send a get, because how do you know that the husband is still alive after you send a get there? After he reaches a certain age and he's older already, so you won't be able to give a get. So by get, it's impossible. We can't be machmer over here. This woman is going to remain an aguna. So therefore over here, we were makel and said what we rely over here on this chazakah. Comes out, it's mashma here sort of from the Gemara that it's sort of this, it's a kula over here benigay to a get because of aguna. Mashenkin by truma we're chayshish because we're machmer, or maybe it's the other way around. By get we follow the halacha min ha-Torah because it's a real chazakah. By truma we're machmer. Over there it's sort of a special chumrah, but by get we're just following the regular halacha of chazakah. But the Gemara continues and says, so this is not really a good answer, because in our Mishnah here we had a second case that was discussing the same concept regarding truma as well. It's not just a question from get on truma. V'rami truma, but you could ask the same contradiction from the halacha of truma in our Mishnah to this halacha of truma in the Braise. Because Tanan in our Mishnah, the second case of our Mishnah was Bas Yisrael and Asul Kayin. Bas Yisrael married to a Kayin, so she can eat truma. And the husband went overseas. She can continue eating truma with the presumption that the husband is alive. So here we're using this chazakah for the purpose of eating truma. So the contradiction here is the husband says here, this is your get, but the get should only take effect a moment before I pass away. Asura lecha betruma miyad. You're not allowed to eat truma right away, so we're not going to assume that the husband, we're not going to follow the presumption that he's alive. We're concerned that he may pass away a moment later. So here we have the same contradiction, and you can't answer me that this is get and this is truma. In both cases, it's a question of whether she's allowed to eat truma or not. So Omar Rav Ade Bereid Rav Yitzchak answers, Shani Hassam, that case over there, when he says that the get should take effect a moment before I pass away, that's a different story, that we don't allow her to eat truma. Why? Shaharei Asra Olav Shah Achas Kaidem Misasai. She's saying that she should become asr for him, or to eat the truma, a moment before he passes away. So over there, in that case, we know that the husband is eventually going to pass away. You can't say that there's a chazaka that he's not going to eventually pass away. He is eventually going to pass away. We just don't know when. So over there, we say that every moment could be that moment before he passes away. Right? So over there, the Isser of the Truma is a moment before he passes away. In our Mishnah, the Isser of the Truma is after he passes away. That's usually when you become Asr to eat the Truma from the husband. But over here, so for that we have a Chazakah. But over here, the Chazakah, what are we saying? That the Isser of the Truma will be that you will become divorced before he passes away. So the husband will eventually pass away. So therefore, we're machmer over here and say that she's asked to eat the truma. But the Gemara asks on this. It's a very difficult answer to understand. Maske floraf papa. How could you say such a svara that over there the point is since the husband is eventually going to pass away, so therefore there's no chazaka. Therefore we have to ask the truma on her a moment before he passes away. Asks Rav Papa, Mimai diyu ma'is beresh. Of course he's going to eventually pass away, but how do you know that he's going to die before her? Lav dafki, he's going to eventually pass away in her lifetime. Maybe she's going to pass away first. So if the basis of your svara is that the husband is for sure eventually going to pass away, so therefore I must ask her every moment to say maybe this is the moment before he passes away, but lav dafka. Maybe he's never going to pass away in her lifetime. So the question comes back, why in our mission do we say that do we rely on the chazaka that he's still alive, and why over there do we not rely on the chazaka that right now he's alive? And how do you know that he's going to pass away before her b'chlal?
Isn't the chiluk because he says those words?
What's the difference? What I'm not
in our Mishnah, he doesn't say.
But it doesn't make a difference, though. I understand. In our Mishnah, he didn't say before I pass away. The get's going to take effect when you give the get or when he passes away. And Chanami, but in Svara though, the Gemara is asking, how do you know over there when he says that the get should take effect a moment before he passes away? How do you know b'chlal to say that he's going to pass away before her? So why are you answering her? Eloma Abaye, so therefore Abaye gives a different answer. Loi kashya, the contradiction of our Mishnah to the Braisa is not a question. This concern, are we concerned that the husband passed away or that he's going to pass away before her? So the answer over here is that it's taka machlokes between Tanoim. Ha Rab Meir, the Lo Chayish Lemisa, our Mishnah is following Rab Meir that's not concerned that the husband will pass away, and Ha Rab Yehuda, and the Braisa follows Rab Yehuda's opinion, the Chayish Lemisa, that is concerned that the husband will pass away. And here the Gemara brings a subject that we learned 2 blot ago regarding a person that's giving truma from a barrel. The Tanan or the Tanya, so we learned in the Braisa as follows. If you remember, we just learned this: a person halekeich yaim ben akutim. He buys wine, a barrel of wine from kutim. Now the kutim, their barrel of wine is chayiv and trumas and maestros as well. But when they sell wine, you can be sure that they did not separate any truma and maestros. Now you want to drink from this, but you don't have a proper keli to separate the trumas and maestros. So you want to separate the trumas and maestros and leave it inside the barrel. So Oimer, what he does is he says, Shnei lugin sha'ani osid lahafresh, 2 lugin of this that I will in the future separate, harei hein truma. That will be for the truma. Asara, 10 lugin of it will be meiser rishon. That's meiser rishon that goes to the Levi or to the Kohen. Tisha, 9 of it will be meiser sheni that you bring to Yerushalayim. Umeichel, and then this meiser sheni that you separated in this barrel. So for the meiser sheni, you're able to desecrate that meiser sheni upon money that you have in your house, as you always usually do. You bring money to Yerushalayim, and then v'sheisim miyad, you can drink from it right away. That's what Rab Meir says. So even though the trumas and maestros are mixed inside this barrel, but nevertheless you can drink from the cholin, and what's going to be left over at the end, so then you'll separate that then for the truma and the maestros that are in it. Rab Yehuda, Rab Yesi, Rab Shimon, Oisrin. Rab Yehuda, Rab Yesi, and Rab Shimon say you cannot do this. What's the reason you cannot do this? So, we learned already before in the Gemara doesn't spell out all the details here again, but Rashi brings, we learned before in the Gemara, the Gemara thought that the reason was that there's a machlokes about yesh breira or ein breira. I'm not going to get back into that now, but if you remember, the Gemara's conclusion was, there's no argument about breira. The argument over here is, are we concerned that this barrel may break at a certain point? Rab Meir says, we're not concerned about that. So if you say that at the end, what's going to be left over will be for trumas and maestros, you can rely on that. But Rabbi Yehuda says, no, you can't rely on that. Now you're drinking, but then later it might burst, and then you're not going to have any trumas and maestros. So retroactively, it came out that you ate tevel. So what do we see over here? So the Gemara is making a comparison. Just like over there, there's a machlokes. You're concerned are we concerned that the barrel is going to burst or not? So right now the barrel is good. But will it break or not? That's machlokes. The same thing over here. When the husband gives his wife a get and says that she should be divorced a moment before he passes away, so are we chayshish shema yamos? For every moment we have to be chayshish, this could be the moment before it will pass away? Or are we not chayshish shema yamos? Similar to this chashash, when we have a status in the present and we're to be chayshish whether something will happen in the future or not. So therefore, who was speaking over here? Abaya. Abaya says that this is a machlokes. Rav Omar. Again, what?
And they answer the kasha of Truma al Truma?
There's no state of Truma. This is the answer. No, this is the answer. The Mishnah goes like Abmeya, and therefore the Mishnah says she can continue eating Truma. We're not concerned that it's going to break, and so too we're not concerned that he's going to die. And the Brayse goes like Rabbi Yehuda. We're concerned that the barrel is going to break, and we're concerned that the husband will die. Rav Omar, Rav gives a different answer and says that Bechlal, there's no comparison from what it says in our Mishnah to what it says here in the Brayse. And this is sort of similar to the answer that the Gemara said before, that who was it, Rav Adde Bereid, Rav Yitzchak said before, but he goes a step further. He says like this, Shema meis lo chashina. To say that perhaps he already died, for that we're not concerned. Because for that I have a chazakah. If he was alive when you left the husband, so for that you have a chazakah that he's still alive. If you're going to tell me that right now he already died, no, for that I have a chazakah that he did not die already. He's still alive. Shema yamos chashinan. However, to say that he may die in the future, and therefore I have to be concerned that this is that moment before he will die, for that I do have to be concerned about. Why? The point over here is not only because, well, he will eventually die, so I always have to be concerned. The point is more. For that, there's no chazakah. There's never a chazakah to say that he will not die. There's no such a chazakah. A person eventually dies. So therefore to say that this is not the moment before he's going to die because he's alive now. True, he's alive now, but in the future he will die. So there is no chazakah that says that he's not going to die in the future. So therefore this moment can be the moment before he's going to die. So basically, Rava is telling you here that this chazakah that the Torah was mechadish, that you take the status of the present, there's a certain limitation how you apply that chazakah. That chazakah is only applied taka regarding a question of whether he's alive or dead now. But regarding whether this is the moment before he's going to die in the future, for that there's no application with this chazakah, because there is no chazakah that he won't die in the future. So therefore there's no contradiction here. So Rav Adde asks Rava, so what's Rava in essence saying? Rava in essence is saying that when it comes to something that could happen in the future, there's no chazakah b'chlal to say that he's not going to die. Everybody agrees that over there we have to be chayshish that he's going to die, and therefore the woman is going to be osset to eat the truma. But if so, Rava, of course, he asked Rava, v'hanoid. But over here, when it comes to this barrel of wine, the kishema yamusu, over there's an argument of whether the barrel will break. And it is similar to what we're discussing over here regarding a person where there's a question of whether he may die or not. Upligi. And over there, I see that there is an argument about this. So how could Rava say that Shema Yamos Chayshinon, that everybody is Chayshish Shema Yamos, and therefore the point that Rava was trying to answer is you don't have to say that it's a machlokes between our Mishnah and the Braisa, and it's dependent on these opinions here. It's no machlokes. If it's a question of whether he died already, everybody agrees that we're not chayshish for that. If it's a question of whether he will die, everybody agrees we're not chayshish for that. So he's asking about how can you say that? When you get to whether he will die, we are chayshish. Yeah, sorry. But he asks him regarding whether he will die. We see over here that there is a machlokes whether the barrel will break or not. So over here as well, regarding Shema Yamos, whether the husband will die or not, there should be a machlokes whether we're concerned about that. The Achronim will point out that the Gemara's question is interesting because you can't really compare a barrel, whether it will break or not, to a person, whether he will die. A person will eventually die. So therefore, at any moment, there is a makom to be chayshish that this could be that moment. Regarding a barrel, you don't have to say that eventually the barrel will break, and therefore this could be that moment. Maybe the barrel won't break. It's an interesting question.
According to what age?
Zaken or chayle. Okay, Chanami. Yeah, okay. Rav Yehuda midiskrata. So Rav Yehuda says that you can't compare the barrel, and he says sort of a similar svara to what I just said. He says shani noid. When it comes to a barrel, it's a different story. The afshad the masel l'shaymer. By a barrel, you give it to a shaymer that's going to safeguard it in a very good place, and it's not going to break. So over there, there's no chayish. We're not chayish that it's going to break. By a person's life, you can't say such a thing. So a barrel is a different story, and even if you don't actually give it to a shaymer, but the very fact that a barrel is something that you could give it to a shaymer, so therefore over there's a machlaikis whether we're chayshish that it's going to break or not. But when you get to Shema Yamos, everybody agrees Shema Yamos. But Mask if Lord Rav Misharshi asks on this answer of Rav Yehuda, Arveich Arvet Tzarech. You're giving a barrel to a shaymer, so maybe the shaymer himself will be negligent and will allow it to break. How could you say that a barrel, that over there it's different than a person's life, because by a barrel you're going to put it in a safe place with a shaymer and he's going to safeguard it? How do you know? That your guarantor to safeguard it needs a guarantor for him to make sure that he won't be negligent. So Rav Misharshi holds it's the same thing. The chashash of Shema Yamos and the chashash of Shema will break is the same thing. Again, like I said, it's a very interesting comparison. So the Gemara says, Elam Rava, so Rava concedes this point, and he says, Shema meis lo chashina. If the question is whether he already died, so that our Mishnah says there's a chazakah, and everybody agrees that we're not chayshish for that. Shema Yamos, but the question of whether this is a moment before he passed away, and to be concerned about the fact that he will pass away, that you're right, Tanoihi. That's taka machlekes Tanoim between Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda, similar to the machlekes regarding the barrel breaking. Okay, the Gemara goes to the last case that we had in the Mishnah. Hasheleach chatasei mimedina sayam. Person sends carbon chatas from Medina Sayam, so the shliach could bring the carbon chatas for him, assuming that the person that sent it is still alive. Correct the Gemara, but how could you send a carbon chatas with a shliach? V'habeina smicha. There's a mitzvah to do smicha on the carbon. So how could he send it with someone else? So Taisus over here says, there's a long Taisus about this halacha of smicha. Few places in Shas, Taisus still talks about this inyan. Even though it's not ma'akiv, even without smicha, you could bring the carbon, but nevertheless, l'chatchila, you're supposed to do smicha. So l'chatchila, you shouldn't be able to send it with a shliach. So how's the Mishnah saying that he's sending it with a shliach? Amar Rav Yosef, so Rav Yosef answers, b'carbon noshim. This is a carbon that's being brought or being sent from a woman, and she is not obligated in smicha. Rashi brings the pasuk. It says daber el bnei Yisrael by the parsha of smicha, but not bnei Yisrael. They're not obligated in smicha. Papa gives a different answer. B'chatas oif. It's talking about carbon chatas oif that needs no smicha, and that's even for everyone. That's what the Mishnah is speaking about over here. The Gemara will answer a more general question on the whole Mishnah. The Mishnah brought 3 cases, and they're all based on the same rule. The first case about taking a get from a person that was old. The next case of a woman that is married to a kohen and her husband left her. And the third case about someone that sent a chatas. In all cases, the point here is that we rely on the chazakah, the status that we have now, that he's alive, and we go with that. Why does the Mishnah have to repeat this halacha 3 times? The Gemara utzricha. The Mishnah is telling you this halacha in all these 3 cases. The yashminan get. If we would just say the first halacha of get, I would say mishum de lo yafshe, as the svara the Gemara said before. Maybe by get I would say because since it's impossible otherwise, so we keep it to this halacha minatayra that we go by the chazakah. Avol trume de efshe, but by trume it's possible to be machmer that she should not be allowed to eat the trume, and then she'll have other food. So maybe over here I don't apply this chazakah. So therefore it has to tell me the chiddush regarding truma as well, that I still use this chazakah. Now, furthermore, v'iyashmin and truma, if we would say the second case of truma, so then I would say to you, the zimnin de lo yafshe. Sometimes it's very difficult. It is a possibility that she has nothing else to eat other than this truma. Even if usually you could expect that she should find other food, but maybe sometimes it's impossible. So therefore we rely on this chazakah. But maybe when it comes to this chatas ha'oif that was sent from someone to be brought into the Beis HaMikdash, misfeike, so since there is room to have doubt about whether the person that sent it is still alive or not, leil chol azara, we shouldn't allow chulin to be brought into the azara. So over here, maybe we should be machmer regarding this issur of bringing chulin to the azara. Truth is that this lashon of the Gemara, chulin in the azara, is a little bit of a hard lashon, because it's not a question of whether chulin is being brought into the azara. It's a question of whether a carbon which is fit to be brought as a carbon, because the man that sent it is still alive, or is it a carbon that's puzzle? It's kachim that's puzzle being brought into the azara. That's really what the Gemara means. It uses this lashon of chulin azara, but it really means kachim that's puzzle. So therefore, tzricha therefore tells me the last case that I rely on the chazakah 100%. I'm not machmer. We rely on this chazakah even in this case. Sagt Eilige Mishneh, Shloisha Dvarim Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Prata Lefnei Chachamim. there were three things that Rabbi Elazar ben Prata said in front of the Chachamim. The kaimu as the varim. And Chachamim accepted. They said, we paskin like this halacha that Rabbi Elazar ben Prata said. Here, these three things the Mishnah is going to bring is continuing the point of the previous Mishnah regarding relying on a status that we have now, chazakah. So the first thing he said was, Al Ir Sheyikifa Charkaim, a city that was surrounded by Goyim. They placed a siege on the city, and you don't know if the people of the city are alive or not. Balasfina, Hamitarefes Beyam, or a boat that's out in the sea and it's a big storm and you don't know what happened over there. Or regarding a person that's going out, he's being judged by a court in the subject of whether he should live or not. So all of these, Sheheim Becheskas Kayamin, we still accept the status that they have, that they're alive, and whatever Allah is relevant, we treat them, if it's a husband, if whatever it is, we treat them that they're considered to be still alive, even though they're in a situation of danger, still we follow the status. Similar to what we said before regarding a zaken and a chayla. Aval, however, a city that was conquered by the army that placed siege on the city, so it was already conquered. Or a sfina sha'avda bayam, a boat that capsized in the sea. Or a person that's not just going to a court case where they're going to be judging him whether he should be killed or not, but he's already going out to be killed. Then, and so over here, we are going to have to be stringent both, that he's alive or dead. We're going to have to treat this person with the stringencies that perhaps he's still alive, but also with stringencies, we can't rely anymore on the chazakah that he's alive, so we have to be stringent to say that he might have died already. And therefore, because apparently, until you actually have Eidim that saw that he's dead, you still have to be chayshish. Maybe somehow he got saved. But at the same time, though, you don't have a chazakah, so it's a suffix. So therefore, you have to give him the chumrah of chayim and the chumrah mesim. So therefore, Bas Yisrael lekayin, a Bas Yisrael that's married to a kayin. So over here, if she could eat truma as long as her husband is alive. But so you're gonna have to be machmer that maybe he passed away and she can't eat truma anymore. Or Bas kayin li Yisrael, a Bas kayin that's married to Yisrael. So as long as her husband is alive, so she can't eat truma. If her husband passed away, then she could eat truma. If she had no children, she goes back to her father's house and she could eat truma. So here I'm going to have to be machmer that her husband is still alive and she can't. So both of them loy toichel betruma. They will not be able to eat truma because I have to be machmer that both ways, that he could be alive or he could be dead. Zok the Gemara Amar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef said regarding the case over here in the Mishnah that it said that this person he's being judged by a court for a subject of whether he's going to be killed or not. This was only said if it was brought. So this Rashi actually says that this goes on what the Mishnah said, that this is a person that was already being taken out to be executed. He was already being taken out lehorik. So on this, right? So on this we say that you have to give him chumrei chayim and chumrei mesim, right? So on this Rav Yosef says leishanu ela bebezin shel Yisrael. This is only for a person that went out to be killed from a bezdin of Yidden. Mm-hmm. So over here, I say that you still have to be machmed that he's alive. But when it comes to a Gaisha court, and they say they're taking him out to execute him, kivin the gamale dina liktala, once they already gave down the ruling that he should be killed, miktal katlile, they're for sure going to kill him, even if you don't have Adam that are saying so, but we can rely on this itself, on this psak din itself, that he was killed. And you don't have to be machmer that he may still have survived this, he's maybe alive. Amalei Abaye, but Abaye said, true. So that Rashi explains, let me just say that Rashi explains here that when it comes to a Bezin Shal Yisrael, even after there's a psak din that he's going to be killed, but still, you can still be malamet zchus on him. And even after he's being taken out, you can run after the person and go and bring him back and be malamet zchus on him. But by a Gayish court, after they give down the ruling, it's done. They're not going to be malamet zchus on him anymore. But Abaye asks in this, Amalei Abaye, but Bezin Shalev Dikachavim Nami, even by a Gayish court, the Mekabel Sheichata, don't they accept bribery? So it's possible that someone bribed the judge and he's still going to live. Amalei. So Rav Yosef answered, Ki shakli, when do they accept bribery? Mekami de lachtaim, porsi shanermag. Before the final ruling was sealed, before it was signed. Abasa, that's what these words, porsi shanermag, is actually a Lashon, Rashi says it's a Lashon Parsi, Persian words here. After the final ruling was signed, they're not going to accept any bribery. Places has a different translation of these words. Porsi shanamag. He says it refers to the dying gadol, to the head of the court. Once he puts his approval on this, so then he's not going to accept any bribery, and therefore you can be sure that this person died. So the Gemara asks on this, Meisvei, I'll ask you from a brayse that's brought in Masechta Makis. Kol makoim sheyamdu shnayim. Anytime you have two Eidim that come into a Bezdin and v'yoimru, and they testify and they say, Mi'idin anu es ish ploini. We can testify about this individual. Shenigma dinoi bebezdinoi dinoi shel ploini, that it was already paskined in that Bezdin. Uploini ploini Eidav, and so were the Eidim that paskined that this person is chayiv misa. So what it says there in the beginning of that brayse, what happened is that this person was already in a Bezdin and they paskined that he's chayiv misa, and he ran away. And after he ran away, other Eidim showed up to a different Bezdin to testify about this person that ran away, that I was there at that Bezdin that paskined that he's chayiv misa. So what's the halacha? So this person, the new Bezdin now that gets this testimony, can kill him. So Rashi explains, so what do we see from here? After the first Bezdin paskin, we're not going to be concerned that maybe after the psak din there was some limud chus, something changed, and therefore that psak din doesn't stand anymore. When Eidim that come and say that we saw that psak din, we accept it, and now in the second Bezdin they're going to give him the chiyuv misa. So how can we say over here that you have to give him chumrei chayim, that maybe he's still alive because maybe someone was malamet chus? Answers the Gemara, dilme, or some take out the word dilme, b'idei achshani. Person that ran away, this person that was chayiv misa, and right after the Bezdin paskin's chayiv misa ran away, that's different. Over there, Bezdin wasn't malamet chus on him. This person ran away. So over there, we can rely on the fact that the psak stands and they're going to give him the misa. But otherwise, by regular case, even after he's being taken out for the chayiv misa, it's possible that someone's going to come and be malamet chus, and Bezdin will accept it. Toshama, the Gemara brings from a different place. Shama mi Bezdin shal Yisrael shal Yoimrim. Person heard from a Bezdin, from a Yiddish Bezdin, that said, Ish Pliny Meis, that this person died, or Ish Pliny Nerag, or this person was killed. So Rashi says, Ish Pliny Meis is in a case where you put a person into a room and you don't feed him and you leave him to die. There's certain times that Bezdin does such a thing. And then there's Nerag. Nerag is one of the Dalad Misas Bezdin, when Bezdin is Mechayiv a person to Misa. So if he heard from a Bezdin of this, so Yesiu es ishtay. So then you could marry, you'll allow his wife to go get married because he died. Now mikumtan risen shalev de kechavim. If you heard this from the executioner of a Gayish court that said about a person that ish pleni meis, that this person was left to die, or ish pleni nerag, or this person was killed, al Yesiu es ishtay. Then you can't allow his wife to go and get remarried. So the Gemara first explains what's first the simple pshat of what this brayse is saying here. My mace or my nedek. What does it mean here when it says that you heard from the Yiddish Bezdin or from a Gayish court that this person was left to die or he was killed? Ilay me mace mamish. If you're going to say it literally means that he died, and the nerag mamish, or that the killed means that he was already killed. So then why is there any distinction there between a Bezdin of a Yisrael or a Gayish court? If that's the same by the case of a Gayish court, why is it saying that by a Gayish court you can't allow his wife to get married? Hakaimalon, you're going to say maybe if you hear this from a Gayish court, so maybe you can't trust them. But Hakaimalon, don't we know the halacha is Kol Masiach Lefitumai. Anytime a person says something, and he's not saying it as like an official testimony, he's just saying information, he's sharing information offhandedly. So you can believe anybody, including even a guy. So over here, if someone from a Gayish court comes and tells you that this person died, this person was killed, so shouldn't we trust him? So why is it making any distinction between a Yiddish Bezdin and a Gayish court? So Elamai, what's the answer? Elalav, meis means yoitzelamos, that you hear from a Yiddish Bezdin that he was being taken out to be killed. And nerag means yoitzelahorek, he was being taken out that he was going to be killed. Vikatani, what does it say in this brayse? The Bezdin Yisrael, when it comes to the Bezdin of Yisrael, Yasiya Sishtay. If you hear this from the Bezdin of Yisrael, you could allow his wife to get married. So this is a question of Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef said that by Yiddish Bezdin, it's still possible that someone was malamet chus later. So how could you allow him to go get married? Now, the Gemara could have asked also from the other case here of this brayse, where the brayse says that from a Gayish court, that over there we don't believe them, or we don't accept this that he was killed. And Rav Yosef said the exact opposite regarding that as well. Rav Yosef said regarding a goyish court over there, no one's going to be melamed zchus, and there's no bribery after the psak din was given, and therefore we could accept that he already got killed. So Taisus over here says in one pshat that that's not such a big question because the Gemara already before explained that by a goyish court there's a difference before the ruling was already sealed already and after the ruling was sealed. Or according to Taisus' pshat, before the Dayan Gadol, the head of the court, gave his approval for this or not, so that would be a simple answer. So the Gemara doesn't ask that. But regarding the Bezdin, Rav Yosef says that by a Bezdin we rely on the fact that there'll be a limit zchus. And here this Braisa says that there's no limit zchus, so this is a question of Rav Yosef. So the Gemara answers, Lo Ilom, we go back to the previous pshat. Meis mamish v'nerag mamish. That this Braisa is speaking about a case that is from a Yiddish Bezdin, we're being told that he already died. And he already got killed. Your question was, so if the case is similar from a Goyish court, why isn't a Goyish court believed to say this? If it's Masiach Lefi Tumai, they should be believed. The answer, they are believed if they're saying it offhandedly. The answer is, when do you say this concept of Masiach Lifi Tumai? If you just have a person, a guy from the street that has no involvement in the story whatsoever, he's just in a conversation sharing with you something that he saw happen. In such a case, I say that I believe what he says. But over here, if it's someone from this court that's coming and telling you, even if he's just telling it to you in a conversation, even if he's not telling it to you in an official testimony, but it's something that he had a relationship to, I can't believe them. Of the Chzuki Shekrayo. It is possible that they will lie about this and to say that he got killed. So Rashi over here says, because they sort of are boasting about the fact, look how powerful our court is, that this person got killed. So they could be just saying it just to boast, even if it didn't actually happen. So this doesn't fit the qualification of really Masiach Lefi Tumai, and therefore he's not going to be believed. So it's not a question of Yosef B'chlal. Okay, the Gemara will bring another version of what Rav Yosef said. We'll see him at Hashem Damshach.